Eric used to work for Lake Country. Now he's over there with Hybrid Solutions and Wax Shop. Real smart guy, Pazzo. But imagine we'll just use the car since we got it here. This would be representative of closed cell. So this frame here is the cell wall structure, and the glass is the membrane. So this would be closed cell. Now, after they make the foam, they have it in this chamber where they create an explosion in there.
Good morning. Always want to do that with the old Kanye West. How many times does that get used on Instagram? Kanye West. Good morning. All you do is like skip, 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 skip. Good morning, Instagram, or oi, Instagram. How are you guys this morning? Are you well? I am the Detailer's Bible today. That's what I'm doing. So, welcome to a little live training session. I'm going to be talking about some of the stuff I talk to trainees about. I think this sort of, as I get into the world of education and training, I'm not claiming to be the best teacher. I'm not claiming to know it all. How can I know anything in a year? A year of detailing, but I would love to talk about some of the stuff that I've watched on YouTube and some of the stuff that you guys ask me questions on in the comment section when it comes to the results I get on the cars I do. So, today I've brought in my brand new Poker Premium trolley, and either side I've got the pad systems, and down, as you can see, you've got the Koch Chemie, we've got a bit of Rupes, and we've got some Cartec in the house. So, let's get started with one of the first things people talk about in topics, and that is pad and polish combinations. That big question, the ones you get on the DMs. Oi, oi, mate, what pad and polish combination is the best? Well, the best pad and polish combination is very, very simple. Let me just get Mike. Let's just calm down, Mike. Calm down, mate. Mike, it's me, mate. It's me. Mike, it's my turn, Mike. You've had your say. Come on, it's my turn now. Pad and polish combinations. What's the best pad and polish combination for a car? Well, the best pad and polish combination is the one that gets the scratches out. That's the one that gives you the most gloss. It's the one that finishes down the best. So there are so many different manufacturers of machines. There's so many different manufacturers of polishes. And there are so many different manufacturers of pads. So, starting from that basis, the detail industry has gone crazy. There is a lot of money to be made in this industry now. It's still a very, very new industry, and new systems and new chemicals and new technology is coming in all the time. So going back into the 80s, where Mike Phillips, Auto Geek, started detailing, the first dual action machine was created off the back of a machine called a Porter cable, which a Porter cable machine was one of those machines that used to be used for sanding wood, and it had an 8mm throw on that machine. And the one thing about it that was very, very exciting about this machine is that they used to use it for sanding and sanding down wood. But a detailer, which a name throws me at the moment, basically decided that he checked the size of the splines on the screws, and that M14 screw was the same size as the one that goes on a rotary. So back in the day, rotary polishers were the only things detailers used to polish cars, to finish cars down. And obviously I remember that from being, I'm 40 years old now, I remember those cars being done. So the rotary polisher then became M14 thread, and the two attachments connected. So the first dual action was born off the back of both machines had a M14 thread, and the guy took his head off a rotary, put it on the Porter cable, and the dual action was born. And it had an 8mm throw, excuse me, and that started to create fantastic finishing results on a car. And it's that dual action effect basically creates that kind of motion where it goes up and down, which is very similar to the hand motion when you're hand polishing. So that's some of the little bits of history of how technology, machines, engineering, all these kind of things have been very, very intuitive and very, very thoughtful and have helped create amazing products and amazing tools. And fast forward to 2021, we now have some of the best companies and the best products in our hands to use at our disposal. So, some of the times we get asked this question when it comes down to pads, polishes and machines, it is, what is the best pad and polish? Well, like I said before, it's the one that gets the job done. Paint systems, BMW, Citroen, you name it, French cars, Italian cars, German cars, American cars, they all have different paint systems. And then just like the amount of machines you can have or the amount of pads and polish you have a million different types of paint that goes on vehicles, on production cars, on show cars. So to have one pad, one polish for one system is going to be very difficult, even in this day and age so far. Now, for me personally, I'm a guy who loves to study and loves the history of many things. I enjoy history and I enjoy learning about the past. I work in fashion, I'm a hairdresser by trade, so I love to understand the past trends and past ideas because you can learn from the past to predict the future or have some foresight for the future. So for me, understanding machines has been something that's become really, really popular. And as you can see behind me, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 machines that I have here on my side, all flex machines. Now, is it my arm that moves my hand or is it my shoulder? That's the point, isn't it? So the machine is the bit that's doing the work, the muscle. The hand and this is doing the touch and feel side of work to it. So for me, when you're trying to get aggressive results, fast results from your compounds and polishes, you can have one pad, one polish, and change all of your machines, and you will receive many different results because the machine has different characteristics. So first up, let's talk about one of the most popular machines that they use at the moment on the market, and that is the XFE, and that is the random orbital machine. If I can get it out. Let me just make sure that is the XFE. It is the XFE. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Now I've just put my trolley nice back together. So, the Flex XFE has, it's free spinning. It's free spinning. This gets its power from the dual action effect where it's powered inside and it has a throw. So a bit like how a discus, a guy in the Olympics using the discus would spin, 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 spin. His power comes from the power of his rotation and then his arm throwing, that throw to give you that speed and that power. And that's pretty much how a free spinning device works. Now, because it's free spinning, it's one of the safest machines to use on the market. Compared to a rotary in the 80s, this is why a lot of us now are able to come out and do our cars and get world-class results because the machine itself is so safe to use on paint now. It's very, very hard to burn through a paint system with one of these machines. And if you are going to burn through the paint system with one of these machines, you're going to be burning through because one reason and one reason only. You either have a very, very aggressive pad or the paint system that's already on there is already super, super thin and it will go straight through. So if you're using an orange pad or a yellow pad from Rupes on one of these machines and a good compound or polish, you're going to find it very, very hard, and you're going to have to do a lot of sets, particularly on an edge, to burn through. So this is, because of that reason, this XFE Flex is a fantastic product, and it's called the Finisher. It's called the Finisher for a reason. This one, compared to the Rupes Mark III LHR15, is a lot softer when it comes to finishing down. The LHR15 would for me, sits somewhere, if this is at the top, then you've got the LHR15, and then you have the force rotation. That sits right in the middle, and it has a great capability to cut and finish at the same time, using the random orbital effect. So, bearing that in mind, if you are out here and you're an enthusiast and you are watching this video right now, this is the machine for you. This is something that's going to be very safe. This is going to be able to you be able to use with most polishing systems, and one of the best machines on the market because it's so ergonomic, it's designed, but it doesn't produce any holograms. And holograms are produced from rotary, and a rotary is a device that doesn't have a throw. It spins just like this on an axis from the middle, and that creates a kind of a tearing effect, which gives you these kind of micro marring lines which create hologramming. And that's basically tiny little cut marks that reflect the light to give you that hologram finish. So that is the XFE. That is a random orbital. And like I say, if you are interested in the Flex systems, feel free to DM me. I can give you some more information. So the next machine is that I use quite a lot. I say quite a lot. I use a hell of a lot. Is my go-to for cutting. And this is that they call, or Mike Phillips calls, the CE Beast. The C Beast. They used to have a thing called a VRG, Flex VRG, and that is the first. That was the first addition to force rotation, and that has a gear. And as you can probably hear, it's gear driven. Now, a gear driven device is slightly different. Its throw compared to the compared to the XFE. Now, the throw on the XFE, by the way, before I forget, is a 7 to 15 millimeter throw. So what that means is on speed 1, you are going to get a 7 millimeter throw, and on speed 15, or speed 6, sorry, you're going to get a 15 millimeter throw. So the faster the power, the bigger the throw. Now, just before I jump onto this one, there's something important about that knowledge. A rotary has no throw. It completely rotates on an axis, on a single axis, and pivots off this point. And as you can tell, with less, when you have this motion that has a throw, that creates a scrubbing effect. And that's why one of the tools that has been invented now is the 21 millimeter throw, because it has a throw that goes even further, which means the bigger the throw, the bigger the scrub, the harder the scrub, the more powerful the machine. So the 21 millimeter throw is a step up from the 15 because it has a bigger throw, can get more surface area, get more work done, and do more scrubbing. Now, when you have a bigger scrubbing area, that also has an issue where it creates micro scrubbing. Means you can get that hazing. So it's more likely to look more hazy because of the scrub. And as you see, whenever you've used a rotary before, it's amazing how glossy and how shiny when you're cutting the paint. Although it leaves those beautiful hologram shapes, the paint when you're polishing looks phenomenal and absolutely glossy. And that's the difference between a 21 millimeter throw and a rotary finish. But sadly, you don't want to leave those hologramming marks on a vehicle. So that's why in the old days, they used to finish down with a lovely black pad. So it would reduce the amount of hologramming that was inflicted on the paint. And hopefully hide that to your eye. But on a microscopic level, when you finish down with a rotary, there will be hologramming. But with a dual action, no throw. So that tends to be why when you're finishing down with a soft pad with the Flex XFE and you turn the speed down to around about 2 to 3 to polish down with 3 probably is the best, 3 between 3 and 4. The throw is going to be less, which then brings the throw down, which into a smaller circle. So that means that you're finishing down, you're getting that orbit. So the throw is this, and the orbit is doing this. So the orbit becomes less, and you get that beautiful, beautiful finish. So that's why people turn the speed down on when they're refining, because they're trying to get less throw, less scrub, and also less heat. Less heat's really good for the paint as well. So, sorry I missed that one out. I'm doing this, I'm spitballing this, guys. So there's no script, there's no thought process. I'm literally just up here now, just chatting to you as we go. Anyway, let's see if we can get it right. So, onto the XFE, the XCE Beast, or the C Beast, as the man like Mike Phillips likes to talk about. So, the CE, XCE, this is a force rotation device. So as you heard, it has gears in it, which means it doesn't have that random orbit. It has this gear-driven rotation, which basically, in part, gives you a steady and consistent throw from 8mm to 10mm throw, depending on the speed from 1 to 6. This machine is directly driven, and it's one thing why I love polishing with this machine is very, very simple, because it has an exhaust, and now this exhaust is at the back of the machine. So the one thing that's different between the XFE and the XCE is that when you're using a random orbital polisher, when you're polishing and the pad and the abrasives are connecting on a random orbit on that throw, there's a compression between the pad, the polish, and the paint, which creates heat. Official detail gods, love your work. There's a friction that comes between the two, which creates heat on the paint. Now, one of the things that the force rotation does, and it's characteristic. Now, this is one of the things that people tend to do when they pick up polishes. They go, I don't like this machine because it's gear driven. I don't like this machine because it pulls me all over the place. It's just a characteristic. It's not better or worse. It's very suited to different scenarios. So it's called a characteristic, and a characteristic is something of the machine. And the XCE's characteristic is that because it rotates the opposite way, this now works in an anti-clockwise. And I actually personally prefer when it works in an anti-clockwise. It reminds me that I'm using the force rotation. If you are in the Rupes system and you use the Millet, it has a 5mm throw, which is, for me, is a smaller throw, which in my opinion gives you more hologramming, or can give you the more risk of hologramming. It's also works. Rupes have designed it, and the only way to get the machine to work in a clockwise formation was to reduce the mil size of the throw to 5mm, so that they were able to get that machine to work in a clockwise format, a la the rest of the machines that you normally use that go clockwise. So the XCE is an 8 to 10mm orbit, which means it has a little bit of a throw, which means it does give you a nice finish. It has gears to drive it, and it also has this amazing design, especially on the Flex system, where it has this lovely little exhaust at the back here, which pulls the heat away from the pad and the paint, and also pulls that through the engine and spits that back out the back and cools that motor down at all times, which allows you, if you did a test between the XCE force rotation, would give you a really cool paint. So when you touch, it's very hard to warm up the paint with one of these machines. And that's why in part I love this machine the most, because by keeping the paint as cool as possible, paint works in such a way that you can actually cut better, faster and quicker when the paint is rigid. Whenever you heat up paint, you are changing its state from sometimes a solid, a liquid and a gas. And that is very hard. So imagine a frozen blancmange is going to be much easier to polish than a room temperature blancmange. It's going to move all over the place. Does that make sense? So the tighter the clear coat, the tighter the polish, the tighter the pad, the cooler the panel. This is one of the most sufficient ways of getting great results, because you're keeping that panel cool. And that's why a lot of reasons why air conditioning is phenomenal in your unit, and also polishing in the winter can be a little bit more helpful because you can get better results. So an XCE is phenomenal in that price. It's safe. It's very, very safe again to use. Very, very safe to use. So this is one of the things. But because it's gear driven, guys, this has much more power. Much, much more power. It's much more aggressive. Much more... you can really push and get some pressure on this. And it's not that it's more aggressive than the XFE. It's the fact that when you use a random orbital machine, which is the XFE, compared to a forced rotation, is that if you push down too hard on a random orbital, it will stall out. It will stall out on edges, it will stall out on contours, and it will slow down, and it won't be able to apply the pressure. When you're using a machine like this that has forced rotation, it doesn't slow down. It doesn't change speed. It gets up to speed. And the one thing about the Flex machines that they have throughout the system is it has a fantastic ability to have a tachometer built into the corded versions. They don't have a tachometer in the I believe, I think they do actually. There's a different system. They do have a tachometer in the system, but in the battery operated version. But what the tachometer does is it measures the RPMs that you're going to be using, and what it does is when you're pushing down the machine to apply better pressure on the panel and pads, what this does is it counterintuitive that it actually picks up the speed and keeps that running at the same RPM, which is very, very unique only to Flex polishing systems, which is phenomenal. The bit of kit is awesome. And also, on that note, they are also brushless. So they are brushless machines. So you don't have to change the brushes. So you don't get this horrible, horrible noise as the brushes wear out, which is great. One of my most favourite machines. As you can probably tell, I'm a massive 6-inch fan. I love using a 6-inch. This is the adapter for the 6-inch. And they're very simple, you know. For a long time, you see a lot of people. I started off with the 5-inch pads. The reason why I use 5-inch pads because everyone else was using them. They're cheaper to use. You can get in little areas, which is great. But for me, thinking about it, if you add up all the 6 inches around the car, you will end up to half a panel at the end less because of all those increments you've worked out around the car. So the width of the pad is so much bigger compared to a 5 that I'm able to get across a door in 1, 2, 3, 4 sections compared to a 5-inch pad, which gives you probably 5 sections. So that's 1 section per panel, which can save you a hell of a lot of time when it comes to detailing. And you know, when it comes to detailing, time is massively never on your side. It's really important to get that speed up. Really important to get that speed up. So the XCE is also one of those machines that will give you the speed, because with the XCE, because it has no stalling, one of the fantastic capabilities is, instead of, as you see on some of Jim White's films, some of his great content, he obviously uses 3 machines. He'll use his hybrid, he'll use his 75mm, and he uses 125mm. Now for me, when I'm using an XCE, I really enjoy the American side of polishing, so I enjoy American polishing. I watch these guys all the time. They love getting around the car and using this machine and steering this machine in as many different ways they can to turn it into a 1 inch. When they tilt it up high, a 2 inch, and this just never stalls, and it just creates a fantastic quick results going on the car. So if you guys are just starting out and you really want to get into machine polishing, I would definitely recommend getting your heads up and getting your head down into a forced rotation. Make that the first machine you buy, because I tell you what, if you're one step in, you can put a black pad on this. You can, if you're cutting really hard, you can put a microfiber pad on this, and it will do a lot of work. And that is, there's not one machine for all, but this is the closest thing to one size fits all. And this is why, if you're invested in yourself, invest in something that's good. Now, the one thing you'll notice as well is the size of the XCE is very small. Much easier to negotiate as well. One of these things. The only negativity, and the cord you can see on this is phenomenal. The only negativity is the cord's not long enough. The cord is not long enough, sadly. It's never long enough. I wish it was a bit longer, because the quality of it's phenomenal, but it's probably only 3 meters long, and it's just frustrating. But I'm going to counterproduct to that with putting an extension lead on the trolley, so that this is just connected to the trolley, and that should hopefully help me out in a long way. So that's the XCE. Now, I will be doing these polishes. I will be going into more detail on my YouTube channel. So if you guys haven't subscribed yet, go to Johnny Shield Detail on YouTube. Give me a little subscribe. I will be going through bit by bit. I will be breaking each machine down and its characteristics on separate videos, so you guys make it less complicated, so you don't just nod off. It's a Poker Premium trolley. Poker Premium. So that's your dual action. That's your dual action range. That's your big 125, 150 main big panel polishers. So if you are a Random Orbital fan and you do like your Random Orbits, then working into spot repair, when it comes down to little spot repairs, or when you're working on wings, or when you're working on pillars, here we have is the Flex XFE 7-1280, the tiny little machine polisher. This is also a free spinning device. It doesn't free spin that well, does it? That's not free spinning that well. So again, not as good quality cord, but same length as the others. This also is brushless. It's a very good machine. The housing is phenomenal, as you can see. Very nice rubber housing. Gives you the ability to hold the machine in a nice, safe way. The distance is nice. It starts up. It sounds absolutely awesome on startup. Nothing very aggressive about it. It just looks absolutely good and feels good in the hand. A lot heavier than the LHR 75 that you'll see from Rupes. And one of the differences is, let me just unplug this, because this is very specific to this machine that I want to have a talk about compared to the Rupes. Now, this isn't me dumbing down Rupes machines. This is just an opinion. I'm going to switch this on. I'm going to just show you the difference. And if you do have a Rupes and you do have a 75, have a listen to this, and I'll tell you the big difference is when you start this machine up on speed 1, if you've ever used an LHR 75, what you'll find very quickly is that on speed 1, it sounds very fast. It's like, if you go when I went from a Virtual machine, a 75 Virtual to a Rupes machine, it was like night and day. It was like literally night and day. Juicy J's in the house. Love my big Juicy J. When you go from a Virtual to an LHR 75, what you tend to find is that from the Virtual until the Rupes, you tend to find that the Rupes speed 1, very fast, really fast. Like it's, like you go, wow, what a bit of power. Ooh, power. And one of the things I was always interested to try out the Flex system and see how smooth it was, because I've seen a lot of videos. Now, one of the big differences, when you get to speed 4 on the Rupes, you've got 1, 4, and that's it for me. When you turn them up, you literally can't tell the difference. Maybe it's just the sound, maybe it's just me. You guys out there that are on Instagram probably be able to tell me the difference, but One of the things you're going to hear when I turn this up is the speed increments that go on the Flex compared to the Rupes is phenomenal. So as I switch it on, speed 1, and this is the one, it's exactly like using a really good car. It turns up and it's German engineered and it works really, really well. So even on speed 1, the noise, the vibration is minimal. The balance of the machine is really, really good. I know that Pete has just joined from Design by Detail. Everyone give Pete a little round of applause. Oi, oi, Peter! He's just bought himself one, and I know that he's so far tested it out, so I won't force him to tell you guys what he thinks. But that's speed 1, and that's nice bit of power. Now, listen to this as I turn it up as it goes up. This is the difference between the Rupes and the Flex, and this is what is different. Listen to it actually change gear from 1 to 6. Speed 2, 3, a nice speed. Now speed 3, that copes with a Vertil very, very quickly. That's a very much a Vertil speed, where if you use a Vertil machine, that's very similar. Now speed 4. As you can hear, the revs are getting up a lot higher. The tachometer is working inside. You can feel the exhaust, it's pulling air from here, straight over the motor, into here, out of here, keeping that motor cool. It also has a cut-off switch, which is phenomenal. So if it overheats, it will protect itself and cut straight off, which can be frustrating, but you know it's going to save the wallet when it turns itself off. Now we're talking. Come on! Speed 5, baby! Oh, yes. And if you're really brave, there we go, full power. And look at that. Full power, fully balanced, no vibration. I'm fanning myself. Look at that. Absolutely brilliant. Look at that for movement. Not a stitch on it. Now what's phenomenal as well is the great having this on the side here, and also secondly having the number dial on the back, so when you're working you are in full control of the speed at all times, whereas most machines, you know, you're having to, what speed's that, I mean, a fantastic bit of kit, by the way, guys, a fantastic bit of kit. And one of the things that, if you are a Random Orbital fan and you do use Random Orbital machines, then it is obviously part of the system with the 125, the 75 and the PXE Mini. It's a great bit of kit, and that kind of idea works all the way through the Flex machines. An absolute beast when it comes to spot repair and those kind of things, and just very ergonomic, really, really good. Very, very powerful, and obviously understanding when it's understanding as well orbit size, 7 to 12 orbit. That also means actually, Harris, it's not. The LHR 75, it's not similar. It's absolutely, it's totally different, mate. That's what I'm saying to you. It's not the same machine. That's like comparing me to Russell Brand. It's just not, it's just completely different. The only similarity is the size of the head. But apart from that, for me, they're totally different machines. Totally different characteristics. And they're designed for, obviously, Rupes, pads, polishes, and all that sort of stuff. So, completely different. Night and day, mate. Night and day different. That's Pete. So anyone watching this on YouTube, I am live on Instagram. This will be uploaded to YouTube. But Design by Detail, night and day, absolutely. Totally different. So, as part of the Random Orbital system, we also now have the Flex, and it is the cordless. It is the PXE, the Pixie, as lovely Mike likes to call it, the Pixie. And what's fantastic about this is it's very, again, designed for the professional, and also anybody can use it. It's great. And also, as you can see on the side, brushless. And as you can see, this is what we like to talk about when it comes to the throw of a orbit. As you can see, look. You see that weight? That's what pulls the machine around. That's the 12mm throw function. Now, when you buy this machine, you purchase in the machine, you've actually got, what comes in the kit is you comes with 2 batteries, It comes with a charger, and it comes with an 8mm throw, and it comes with a 12mm throw. It doesn't come with the 2-inch pad attachment. This is by APS, and you buy this from Kartech, and it's a great little attachment to go on for a 2-inch. And you also get a 1-inch for wet sanding. You get a 1-inch for machine polishing. And you also get, which is very different again against the Rupes, which is why I chose the Flex, is you get a 3-inch attachment. Now, that means you can double up with your attachments. So it's very easy just to undo. And you get this little spanner, and it's very quick. Literally just in there, crack it off, change the head, straight in, and you can crack straight on to a 3-inch. And that gives you, if you are interested and you're not a fan of all these wires and all these kind of things hanging around, this gives you a quick straight in, straight out. If I wasn't on a live and my arms weren't going all over the place, and you can just literally crack that one on, tighten it up, bang, and it's got this phenomenal click and play system, which is, by the way, when I first started polishing, I had a Halfords polisher, and I used to take the housing off of the 5-inch and have to put the 3-inch on. Now you'll see the offset. Can you see the offset? See how that offsets now, how that's higher, and how it works. And that I mean, you can see the free spin on that is much more free spinning than the LHR 75. Now, I find, funnily enough, that this machine on a 3-inch, because of its power, cuts harder than that machine. It has a little bit more drive, a little more determination. It's great. Now, what you'll tend to find is with the Flex Pixie is what you'll have is on the back, you have 4 speed settings. You have speed 1, 2000, which is great for wet sanding, which again, when you've got the 8mm throw housing, it also comes with, when it's come with the 8mm throw, what that means is that that's very good for the single attachment for the wet sanding. So when you're going to do any scratch removal, you can put the 8mm throw in. You can attach the 1mm backing plate and get these little stickers that go on the backing plate. So you'll definitely notice a difference between the 1-inch and the 2-inch because it has a hook and loop fastening. So on the 1-inch, it has a hook and loop, and on the wet sanding one, it literally has a flat panel for you to stick on it. Shame it can't cope with a 3-inch rotary. It's true, it's very true. But I think now you've got me on that one, Pete, for a reason why it's on a 3-inch rotary. And I think it's to do with the machine. You're absolutely right. I think it's to do with the machine couldn't cope with the force. I think you'd end up breaking the motor if it was on a 3-inch with a rotary, Pete. But yeah, great shout, mate. But like I say, when I'm wet sanding, nice little 1500 grit, you can literally pop that on there. And if you've got a car that's completely nutted, you're straight in and you're straight out. And like I say, because it's random orbital on a 12-inch, it's really, really good. Also in the set, you also get a rotary head. You also get a rotary head, which is phenomenal. So this is, as you can see, again, random orbital it gets its power from this weight here, like a discus thrower. When it starts to turn and rotate and be forced round, it's the forced random, it's randomly orbiting and being driven around by its weight. So when you go into rotary mode, this is just on an axis. So here is your rotary attachment. And from Kartech as well, big plug to Kartech, you have an APS, which you can get these little attachments which are fantastic for doing door handles, behind mirrors, all those kind of things. And they do a yellow and a black foam pad. And you can use this for... And as you can see, that spins on a lovely little axis. Just the sound of the machine, you can feel the exhaust sucking in from the back there and blowing that air out from here. Really good for shaving. Very soft. Love that. Yeah, sorting that out. Lovely jubbly. So you get 2 batteries in the pack. So they last about 25 minutes on full speed. But personally, I've used a 3-inch on random orbital on full speed, and full speed on this is a big jump. So speed 3 is 4,000 RPMs, and then it goes, when you go to speed 4, it jumps straight up to almost 5,800 RPMs, which is quite a big jump. So speed 1 is 2,000, speed 2 is 3, then 3 is 4, then 4 is literally 5.8. So you get a massive jump with the PXE up to that power. And as Pete, I'm not sure if you have used the PXE before on rotary, but it is a very, very aggressive bit of kit, very, very sharp. I have made mistakes on plastics, so if you're doing plastics with these, A, stay away from microfiber pads, and B, stay away. You make sure you use soft pads on bumpers when you come into the PXE, because this thing is mega aggressive and it will start to move the paint on you and strip it off plastics, because plastics don't adhere to the paint. Paint doesn't adhere to plastics very, very well. The Detailer's Bible's in the house. Get up there, boy. Get up there, my boy. So he's in the house. What a van. What, another van? Another giveaway? Yes, please. Oh, he hasn't, has he? He hasn't. Yes, he has. For all the YouTube viewers that are watching, ignore that. Don't worry. You can skip past this bit. So, that's the PXE. This is one of those reasons, because obviously when you're using a PXE and you're using the 3-inch random orbital, you've got the 125 random orbital. If you ever watch Jim White and you watch Jim White's videos, the reason why you have 3 machines when you're using a random orbital system is because the machine has to be flat. The pads have to be flat when it comes to machine polishing. You want to make sure when you're using a machine, otherwise with the random orbital, it will stall out on the edges and you won't get into those little tight spaces to get the best correction possible. When I use the random orbital or the force rotation. So, up next, the one, the only, rotary. Now, this is a machine that is just absolute magic. Absolute magic. We'll spin it round. And talk about these machines is because we're getting on for nearly close to an hour now, guys. So we're probably going to, once I finish with the machines, we're definitely going to do another live on the pad systems, which I've got next to it. But let's get on to the machines. Let's get on to the rotary. My old mate, the rotary. Hello, mate. Hello? Hello? Is it ready? Nah, it's not ready yet, mate. So, the big old rotary, look at that. I've even invested in a lovely little flex backing plate. Now, with the flex rotary, this is the 14-2 150. And what a machine. Now, this machine, when I worked at Sav's Master Detailing in Slough, was one of the machines that made me fall in love with buying the flex system. We had the Rupes 15 LHR 15. We also had the LHR 19, which is the rotary, and we also had the LHR 75. But we had one flex. Sav had one flex on the side, and it was his go-to machine for cutting. It literally was like, if he wanted to get some stuff done, he brought out the weapon, the beast. And this thing, I will open it up for you, because this thing sounds ridiculous. And the rotary speaks for itself. It's very simple, guys. A rotary is a rotary. And the one thing about why people are so loving about using a rotary is you can use one machine. You can use one machine with a rotary. You can swap out all the pads. Now, the cord again, sadly, isn't long enough. It's only a 3-meter cord. COVID. But one thing about it is, and do you guys know what this button is for? Come on, tell me. Do you know what this button is for on the Flex Rotary? What is it for? Is it a super button? Is it a super boost button? What is it? So let me know while I plug it in. 14-2. She's a beast. She's an absolute weapon. So, the characteristics of a rotary. What are the characteristics? Well, very simple. A rotary is a gear-driven device. Okay, it runs by gear, so it doesn't stall out like a random orbital. But one of the biggest things is it pivots off the center point. It pivots off the center point. And now what happens is, if you spin something very small off the center, this area here doesn't have this outside area. This is going to build up a lot of heat here very, very quickly. And I mean very quickly. This is why this machine, again, when you couple it with a pad and a polish with its gears, and you're using the machine, you are going to get a lot of heat generated between the pad, and it forces the heat between the pad and the polish, and that's what generates a very quick amount of heat straight away. If you rewind this video and go back to the forced rotation, which actually draws heat away from the panel. This actually puts heat into the panel. This will build up heat quick. This is why this thing is feared by many. This is why a lot of people call it the professional tool, because it's been around for many, 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 many years. And like I said to you, the great thing about it is it can be your friend. It's not as scary as you think if you get to use it, if you get to understand it, if you make it your friend, if you tame the beast. Now, this button on the back, if you guys haven't been, none of you got it, it is a button that you press, and it's so you can it lock. Can you hear that? Can you hear it lock? You can hear it lock. HBO. Yes, you are right, sir. Tilt it. Exactly, sir. That is what we will get into that. But I will leave that out for a second. So that button allows the M14 thread to stick, and that allows you to be able to quickly remove this one, and you can put another head on straight away. So whatever size you got, you can then reconnect. Again, I'm still a massive fan of the 150s. That'll lock in, that locks in, release, and off we go. So, one of the things I will show you before we go is I will show you, I will have a listen to this for sound. It is an absolute weapon. So, speed 1. Oh. That is orchestra music to a detailer. That noise, listen, what noise, what sound, that, look at that, nothing, no throw, no vibration, no strength, no power, just pure music. And again, as very characteristics to the rest of the Flex system, a brushless machine, and also, very important, 1 to 6 speed, and the orbits only go up to 2,100 orbits per minute, which is very important for a rotary because we don't need 6,000 orbits on a rotary. Why would you have 6,000 orbits per minute on a rotary? That would literally have no paint left, guys. You would literally have no paint left. So let's work through and have a listen to the same characteristics compared to Rupes, but this has this machine that this goes up through the gears. So let's have a listen. Oh. Steady as, look at that, steady as you go. Oh. Power! Correct me up, baby! Oh, woohoo! Come on. What a machine. What a machine. This machine, when I couple this with a beautiful Rupes wall pad or a Kartech microphone pad, absolutely cuts like butter. Give me hard paint, give me concrete, you give me anything, this thing will tear it a new arsehole. It is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Scrub out the swear word. What a machine. But like I said to you before, one of its characteristics is that it literally is gear driven, and it literally spins on an axis like a compass, spins off this point here. So what happens is here is that this heat generation is very, very high, very, very quickly. And that's why with a rotary, you have to keep it moving. You have to keep it moving all the time, because that if you build up heat on a paint too fast, you have the problem of delaminating the paint if you have an accident of leaving it in a state for too long. But I'm not going to put the fear into you. It's just one of those things that it's a gear-driven device. And that's why I recommend the Flex XCE, because it's a device that you get used to, that you can get used to the characteristics of a force rotation device and get used to doing it. Now, because I love this machine so much, I'm going to give you a little demonstration. And only because I love you guys. Who was it who said it? HRB Auto Detailing. Okay, this one is for you, HRB, if you're still in the house. Let me get myself a pad out. Let's get a pad out and let's show you the thing that you can do with the rotary. And if you guys are out on the tiles today, let me show you what we can do. Now, let me pull my chair out. That'll be easier. Okay, so here we have a section down here. That's a split section. Now, if you can understand, like Ross from Friends, unagi, a bit like old Friends when it's like the power of the pad, unagi, right? The idea is, if you imagine this, right, understand how rotation works, okay? So let's cut this off here, okay? Let's cut this off here. So this half of the pad is going to go in this direction, okay? This direction, okay? So half from here, this is going to go in this direction. Now, this is the most important part. This part of the pad is going in that direction. So you have a conflict of direction. You've got this one going this way and this one going this way. This is just a characteristic of rotation, understanding how rotation works. So, as HRB Auto Detailing is getting very excited in the comments, basically saying his trainer threw him into a rotary first and I preferred it over the Flex DA personally. You will prefer the smoothness. Nothing is smoother to use in your hands than a rotary. There's nothing smoother because it has no wobble and no vibration. So, understanding the characteristics is cut it through the middle. This goes this way, this goes this way. What this happens is, if you've got a panel you're working with, okay, and you're working on an area like this, and you've got a panel here underneath this section here, what happens is, this area is going this way, and this goes this way, and then the machine wants to go, it doesn't know which way it wants to go. It's having a nightmare. It's having a brain fart. It's like, it's called, the saying in detail is called walking away. And that's because the machine doesn't know whether it wants to walk this way or this way. Now, the most important part is very, very simple. And you'll see this a lot. And you see a lot of detailers online going, "You're a real man if you can tilt a Flex rotary on its side." You know who he is. Give me a break. Anyway, it's a characteristic. Okay? Now, what that means is I can turn this machine in from a 6-inch to a 3-inch to a 2-inch to a 1-inch. Now, how do I do that? And how do I understand rotation? Very simple. When I'm machine polishing, how I will always put on, make sure I'm not on speed 6, make myself look a bit of a tit, wouldn't I, eh? So, when I'm machine polishing, the idea is, if I've got my machine tilted upwards, the rotation is only going one way. See? The rotation is only coming off the edge. So when we're working with an edge on a car, as you can see an edge, if you understand that the rotation is going this way, you can't burn through paint if you're rotating off an edge. You will mainly burn paint when you will burn into an edge, meaning when I lay this flat on here, guys, and I leave this flat, and this is why most people don't polish with a rotary flat, is because this side, of the paint is coming onto the edge. You see this? And this side is going off the edge. Now, if it's going off the edge, it's very safe. It's like this, skimming off. But if it's coming this side, you're going to burn through that paint in seconds. Bang! Straight in it. So, by tilting the pad up with the side that rotates off the edge. Oh, smooth as, baby. See? See that tilt? Okay? Now that is just rotating off that edge, lovely. And actually it's cleaning my seat, lovely. Lovely, lovely. So rotating that off the edge is safe. Look at that. Now, watch. See it? Well, look, wants to walk away. See, it doesn't know which way it goes. Top, bottom. Top, bottom, see? Now, watch. Flat. Following me around. Up. Safe as houses, see? Because it's rotating. You can rotate it that way. You've got an edge this side, edge that side, and it's that kind of, look. There you go. Now the control. Now you've got the control, okay? And that's why I work on edge work. Now, understanding how to get this, how do I get a rotary this big into a 1 inch? How? You must be mental, Johnny. Simple. This surface area is about 3 inches, okay? That feels nice and warm now. So, a 6 inch on a flat bonnet, lovely, got 6 inch. But I'm trying to polish this now, and how am I going to get these edges? That's how. That's how. Look. By tilting up the pad, by tilting this up, I've now turned this into a 3 inch. Look. The other Martin machine isn't moving it about. Lovely. Now to counteract that, one of the main things you have to do is be aware, okay? If you've ever polished, if you've ever sanded wood, okay? What you'll notice is you'll see the amount of debris that comes off, and the wood will show you what's happening. And what I mean by that is, if I was to put this pad at this angle into my wall and it was plaster, you will see a big groove coming out of that area. You will see a dent going in it. So what I'm trying to say is, when you focus pad pressure on an edge like this, you are now increasing the heat and the power into this one edge area. So the way to counteract that is to have a very, very light pressure and work slowly and smoothly. Don't be hanging your nuts on it, trying to push into the paint. You will literally dig this in and you will have a nightmare. So just nice and smooth, sanding strokes, in and out. Lovely, lovely. Is it ready yet? Oh, it's ready, mate. It looks amazing. Exactly. These are the things, these are the topics of conversation that we love to talk about on Instagram. This is about efficiency, and efficiency is the most important part of detailing. Making sure you use the right tool for the right job at the right moment. And that is what I said about paint systems, pads, polishes. The machine is your muscle. It does the work. And when we work in order of appearance, a Rupes wall pad on a rotary is going to give you the most amount of cut compared to a Rupes wall on a forced rotation or a Rupes wall on a random orbital. These Rupes pads will go on any tool, but that is the order of strength. So understanding the characteristics is just more important. It's just a characteristic. When you hear people say, I don't like rotary, I don't like it. No, I don't like it because it's I don't like a forced rotation because it's it does it like, it's a characteristic. It's sometimes you need that for certain paints. Certain paints need it. Some paints ask for it. So what I'm trying to say is, I'm not degrading anyone who just sticks to what they know. I'm trying to say that if you understand a machine, you understand its characteristics, it will work for you. And that's the most important part, is understanding what it does. And as Mike Phillips says in the background, if you master your tool, you can make any tool dance on paint. And that's the thing. Now, for me, as a hairdresser, I have many different scissors, many different combs, many different tools to create the work I do. And that's something I've been doing for 27 years. I've studied, I love the history of it. I hate, it's like a golfer has to have a driver, a 3-wood, a hybrid, a set of irons, a putter. He has to learn, and I love golf as well, you have to learn the different disciplines for every eventuality for where that ball goes. So if you want to be good at polishing, if you want to be good at machine polishing, you want to be at the top of your game, if you want to be able to fight fires when you're in situations, you're going to have to invest in the tools. You're going to have to invest in learning each tool and working with that tool. And I've been very, very lucky to be blessed where I've been able to invest money into this business and invest into this particular discipline in detailing when it comes to polishing. This is my bag. This is what I love. This is what I do. I've only been doing it a year. I've only been doing this a year now, guys. So there's going to be a lot of stuff that I'm talking about right now in 2021 that in 2025 will be completely either bonkers, mental, or that won't exist, or I'll have changed my opinion on. Because as I grow, as I get better, AM Details is in the house. Come on, Big Al. Come on board. Come and talk to me, Al. Let's have a chat. Mr. Rupes himself in the house. Talking to, hello, Al. Is Alan there? Yeah, he's there, mate. He's watching. Are you feeding the fish, Al? So these are the things that I'm talking about. Characteristics of machines, characteristics of machine polishers. Someone like Alan up there at AM Details, I've got, by the way, have watched a ton of Alan's videos, and I've watched during lockdown 1,000 hours at least of YouTube videos to understand machines, understand technology, understand paint. And I can't learn it all from just watching on YouTube, but I've got a lot of knowledge, which is absolutely fantastic. HRB Auto Detailing, thank you very much for joining, mate. I really appreciate it. Thanks for the little tip on the rotary, mate. As I say, how is the other machines going on, by the way? How are you getting on with the machines? Let me know in the DMs. That'd be fantastic. So, the last, if not least, and Al, if you are AM Details, if you are watching, send us a request, mate. Jump on, talk to me. Let's see how we get on. I'm sure those guys will be absolutely amazed to hear your knowledge on the Rupes system. By the way, I watched Mike Phillips on the new Rupes system, and I'm fascinated with the new compounds and the way they've broken down the new system. Impressive. Waterless, hello, sir. Thank you for the follow. I saw you follow me the other day. Impressive. Haven't used your products yet, but I definitely will get round to it. Compulsive Ryan, how are you, mate? Stay off the nourishments, Ryan. Stay off the Red Bull, mate. Anyway, YouTubers, sorry. Let me get back. Any day but Wednesday. It's because it's Wheel Wednesday, Al. That's what it is. It's because it's Wheel Wednesday. Anyway, if not last but not least, let's talk about my last machine. It is the PE8480. And this was the first rotary I bought before I bought the 14-2. And why have I got two rotaries? Well, very, very simple. You can use this, and again, it has this button on the top to release the gear, to take this off, which is great, and put it back on. Why have I got two? Now, what I find with having two rotaries, one is set up for a 3-inch, and one is set up for the 6-inch. What I find for me, when I'm working in a rotary system, it's very nice to be able to have two pads, two polishes, everything set up, so I'm not having to swap out to keep changing the heads on each. It's just, again, it's a time constraint. We're up against the clock when we're polishing all the time. So when you're in the throes of correction and you've got your focus and your head down, your headphones on, you're listening to the Paul Dolden and Specky podcast in your head, and you're thinking, what are they talking about? What's Paul on about? I'm joking, guys. To break concentration, it can be quite a bad process. You want to be able to stay in the moment. Obviously, you don't want to be polishing for 15 hours at a time and not have a break. You do 3 hours, have 20 minutes off, let the arms rest, let your brain rest, have a think about it, take a step back. But having the 3-inch and the 6-inch coupled up is a great little technique. And one thing about this one is, with this size, it's a lot safer. With the 80mm polisher, what you'll find is this system is a lot safer. So compared to the 14-2, which you tend to find that people use that a lot for boating, you know, when they're using gel coats, that's probably the most go-to machine when it comes to gel coat polishing. And this one, you can use a 6-inch on this. It's very small, obviously a lot more petite, but it's much more designed to get in some certain areas. So where you're working as well with the bigger rotary, you've got this long extension. Sometimes when you're working in tight areas, it's too long. You know, you want to be able to get into the front bumpers. You want to get into the front bumpers. You've got little areas you want to work in. You may be doing spot removal. Fantastic bit of kit. It's not as strong as the 14-2, but it's not far off. It's still a rotary. Thanks a lot, Waterless. Love your work. Also follow you on your other private channel, mate, so I appreciate that. I remember I watched one of your videos on your sad moment with your car, mate. And the service you received on that dealership. What a joke. What a joke. We'll talk more in the DMs. Appreciate that. So, yeah, so this rotary, when I'm working the rotary system, I don't want to have to be able to swap out. So having both pads ready to go, set up, I'm able to get round the car. I'm going to get that extreme cut. And this is going to be mainly used on cars that have a lot of deep defects, or cars that I'm doing major correction on, that I'm going to be doing the car for 3 to 5 days. And I want to be able to get round that car, get those defects out. So I've got more time to duel the car out. I don't want to be spending time when I'm doing correction, especially on the paint, going over and over and over. So let's say, for example, using a foam pad, let's say, just for example, just out of having a yellow Chemical Guys pad with S20 black on a car that's heavily swelled and had loads of issues with it, and have to go over a section over again and again and again and again. This is why we have different grits of sandpaper, is the same understanding of steps in polishing. That actually, if you understand it, a rotary with a wall pad with a strong compound is going to be like 1,000 grit sandpaper. That is going to twist and cut and pull. That is going to give you the most amount of clear cut removal that you could possibly get, depending on whether you get the big wool one, which is going to leave defects. And that's one of the most important parts. When you're cutting paint, and you're using this aggressive compound, you will be putting scratches back in the paint. You will be scratching the paint. So make sure you're aware of what you're leaving behind that you can get out as well at the same time. So that's quite a complicated system, so I'm not going to talk about that too much. So I don't want you guys to just jump straight into a Rupes wall pad and a rotary and go, this car's knackered, and start going bananas and end up with all sorts of issues. So just understanding that. So guys, that's it. So far, I was going to get into the pads. We will do that another day. I think the time is 12:25, so there's still some stuff to do. I know there's a few more people joining. If you've been interested in this video was made for my trainees to understand and be able to sit down and watch and understand a little bit about machine polishers, machine polishers, and how they work and their characteristics. And it's understanding the characteristics, and just don't throw away the knowledge or the machine just because you don't get on with it straight away. Invest in the time. It's going to take a long time. So the first time you picked up a machine polisher was hard work. And every time you pick up a new machine, it will be hard work. It will take you time to understand that every pad and polish you put on it isn't going to have the same characteristics on each machine. So let's put a Rupes wall pad on every machine and use the same compound. You're going to get different results every single time with each machine, with each characteristics it's got. So you have to relearn its characteristics and understand how to get the best pad and polish combination. Is the best way from understanding how compounds work, how pads work, especially the machines that you use to use them. I'll finish with this. If you want any more information on fantastic videos when it comes to watching YouTube, I would recommend you either watch Ammo New York, or you go and watch Mike Phillips, or you go and watch Buff Daddy. And Buff Daddy works with Ammo anyway on the stuff. And also the Rupes training systems online. Rupes Talks. If you want to take your machine polishing seriously and you really want to create good results and you really want to get involved in it, just have a little look at this trolley behind you and how much stuff, well, I'm taking most stuff off now, but understand that there are no shortcuts. Take care, Ryan. Love you, mate. There are no shortcuts to success, guys. It's very, very simple. It is going to cost money. It is going to cost you time. It is going to cost a lot because machine polishing isn't cheap to do. It isn't cheap to do. And I'm just going to show you this just before I go, because actually the way you wrap up your machine, is very, very important. Very, very important, because you don't want to ruin the cord because you don't want to lose it. And I'll just forget, last thing, Flex give you a 3-year warranty on the machines compared to Rupes. I'm not out here bagging off Rupes, by the way. I'm not. I'm just giving you the information. When I started spending a lot of money on machines and machine polishes and machines and all sorts of stuff, I wanted some guarantee that the machine was going to last. And I've had an issue with my XFE already. There was a little characteristic with an XFE that it squealed like a pig. It was like, wee! So I had to actually had to send it off and get it repaired, because it has, I think it's a factory default when it comes out that they have these pick up these squeals. So if you do have a squealy XFE, get in contact with Flex because you can get it fixed. So make sure you wrap the cords up. Make sure you store them properly. If you are interested, get yourself into the Flex polisher. And also, just before you go, just before you switch off, let's see who's watching still. You're all watching. One last little thing we'll go into before we leave. And Royal Details, Sean, if you haven't seen polishing, Sean at Royal Details, wow. 15 years, machine polishing, loves a wet sand. Go and check out his content, does fantastic work on there. Great shout, Sean. Thanks for joining, Sean. Probably jumped in, jumped out. Probably busy. He's busy on a decon, loves it. So let me get this light out for you quickly. Just wanted to show, because one of the things I've been struggling with since I left the unit, I haven't been working outside. One of the things that I've invested in recently is the new multi-match I got from Slim's Detailing. And this thing is money. And it is powerful, guys. You can charge your phone off the back of it. It's brilliant. So if you guys are out there and you've got those phones that dies on you, this thing is quality. You have got a battery that breaks down. And all this content, guys, I will be putting this up on my YouTube channel. So feel free to go and subscribe. As always, like, comment, subscribe, all that sort of stuff, all that jargon. Here comes the battery that comes off it. This is the battery that goes on the back of the light. Really, really good. And you also have a power source as well. So you can have constant power, which is great. And I will just plug that back in. And I will show you the light, and it is phenomenal. This has Bluetooth capabilities. So you can connect this to your Bluetooth. And as I power it up, that is only on, so that's 10%. So that gives you a 10%. And this is great. I can't change. The sad thing about it is you can't change. I don't think you can. Oh, can you? Can you? I'll hold that down. Oh, you can. You can change by holding down the power button. You can change the level of Kelvin of its Kelvin. That's the one, yeah. So it has different lighting. Get your words out, Johnny. I got lost there. When I get this thing in my hand, I get proper excited. Anyway. This thing outside is phenomenal. This thing lights up the whole panel. So when I'm using the light, this thing is absolutely Gucci. And it does have a fantastic power bar on the back. that gets in focus. And when I'm working outside now and I'm doing polishing, I was using a head torch, I was using my hand torch. And one of the things is, I was getting frustrated because I was missing areas all the time because I'm having to go through and really use the small hand torch to go through and really inspect outside because the daylight's so bright and then sometimes it's too dark. Lots of issues. And since I've had this, what a beast. What a beast. I connect this to the trolley and this thing now, as you can see, can change the colour depending on the paint system. And now you can change the... I'm still learning how to use it. There we go. Now check that out for power. Woo! Take it out your eyes. What a beast. What a goddamn beast. And if Sean's still watching for Royal Details, Sean's also invested in the XFE. He uses a lot of rotary work. I think even Sean uses, I'm not sure, Sean, do you use the flex rotary as well, mate? Do you use the flex rotary? I think Sean uses the flex rotary for cutting and he uses his XFE for finishing down. So let me know, Sean, in the comment section. Anyway, this thing is just an absolute beast. Absolute beast. Look at the power of that. So when I'm lighting up a panel now and I'm working outside, I am getting some serious stuff. I should have used this before. I should use this to get over yourself. You know, like when the guys, like when YouTubers. Look at me now. Look at the lighting. Look, hi. I look proper, don't I? You know when they're doing like these webcam videos, I'm like, hi, I'm Johnny Shield Detailing. Welcome to another episode of Detailing Oi Oi. So yeah, so you can see now that lighting is just literally lighting up this room. It's ridiculous. Absolutely epic. So I will be I've literally given you so much detailing knowledge. Jackson Detailing. Yo, Jackson Detailing. Love the man. Great content as always, Jackson. Love your honesty. Love your realness in your videos. Keep your stories. Keep doing what you're doing, mate. Really big fan of your work. So go and subscribe to my YouTube channel, guys. If you can, that'd be great. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers as possible. I've got only 60 at the moment, which is a long way to go. But I'm trying to get there so that I can start doing more lives on YouTube. So I can start, because I love lives. I'm here, I'm real. I want to be honest. I want to do things off the cuff. I don't want to sit there editing all day and all night. I've got so much stuff to do. So I try and do things off the cuff and do some presentation work. But yeah, so if you get the chance to go and view. But I will be breaking all this stuff down for you. I will be working through each video, each polisher, pad, combination, machines. These videos are based, obviously, for my trainees. So we'll break it down into parts. Machines, pads, polishes, combinations, paint systems, polishing systems, lighting, and also oi oi. So listen, guys, thanks a lot for joining. That's been an hour and a half on the live. If you've just joined and you haven't seen the live and you're interested in machine polishes and you're interested in machine polishing and you want to up your game, I do now have a training insurance. I am now taking on trainees. And guess what? Your first day with me is free of charge. Free of charge. So if you want to come and get trained on machine polishing with Johnny Shield Detailing, with myself, Johnny Shield obviously, come on down, get yourself down here. We'll spend a day with you. And that's specifically a assessment day. So what I want to do is make sure, like I would with my hairdressing customers, I want to make sure that you understand and have the knowledge you need to level up your game throughout the system. So one thing I'll tell you is I machine polished day in, day out for 1 year to get to the level I'm at now. And by the way, I'm not at a great level. I'm always could be better. But it's one of those things that I understand that you have to be doing this day in, day out. And I know you guys are doing this on a daily. And I know that you don't get the chance to be practicing this all the time. So what I'm trying to say is that it's a bit like a golf teacher. I'm trying to apply the same knowledge as when I was doing golf. Is that you come down for a free lesson, a free day, come and jump on board, and then after that, We can work through a system, we can work through experience, and we can work through what you need to work on. We've got all the machines here. We've got all the polishes here. We've got all the pads here for you to just literally come down and have a demo day. Shadow me, watch me, ask the knowledge, ask what you need to do, get a feel for different paints, ask me the questions, and I can give you a little bit of an assessment, and then we can work for a plan of action for what you need to go away and work on and spend time doing. And also, I will always offer you as much support as I possibly can in my close friends tab or my DMs, and I can get back to you, and hopefully I love to help people out, so hopefully try and give you, if you're on a job and you're stuck in a situation where something's not working or you're trying to change time. So big shout out to Bluebell Valetin I spoke to last night, I was chatting to last night and talking about these kind of situations. So I'm here to help, and when I can help, I will always help whenever I can. So lots of news. I'm coming off the live now, guys. I've got some merch coming out, which I was supposed to do last year, which got, for all sorts of reasons, got held up. But I'm going to be dealing with Kingfisher Promotions, and hopefully they're going to be doing my merch, and I'm going to be having my sponsors on there. Sponsors, is that the right word? Sponsors? Yeah, I call them sponsors. Let's just call it sponsors for the sake of it. So we're going to have the Detailer's Bible. We have Juicy Details. We have Waxing Away. We're going to have Bullhawk. We're going to have all these artisans of car care. Hopefully a few others on there. So they're going to be labelled up. The design is going to be hopefully a bit like a Formula One kind of setup. So I'm going to be wearing this stuff. My Oi Oi Instagram hashtag is going to be on me. So we're going to be doing some merch coming out. So hopefully you guys, if you're interested, a lot of the proceeds will be going to mental health charity, because that is what it's all about. I come on my Instagram and I do this stuff to get this head fresh as a daisy. I do this stuff to release some energy, because doing my job as hairdressing is so very, very stressful. I find detailing very therapeutic and very relaxing. So if you don't know my mental health journey, this will be coming out very soon on my YouTube channel. I'll be doing a conversation on mental health. I'll be going deep and dark and honest about some of the things I deal with on a day-to-day basis that I sometimes talk about on my Instagram channel. But these are some important stuff that we love in this kind of climate and this kind of topic that's very, very important. We keep promoting mental health as always. For all you guys that have joined, for all you guys that have watched, for all you guys that are constantly supporting, thank you very much. I know you guys are hard, busy working out there. Please, 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 if you can, please share this content onto your story. Please share it wherever you can. It really makes a massive, massive difference to the page. The bigger I get, the better it gets, the wider we can get out there, the more we can share positivity, the more people I can help, whether it becomes with mental health, whether it becomes with your haircuts, whether it becomes with detailing, machine polishing, your business. I just really enjoy being a trainer, a motivator, and a mentor. So if you want to share it, I don't care what people think about the clout stuff. Up to you, clouters, whatever you want to call me a clout. I tell you what, I'll be the king of clout. How about that? In detailing, it's a clout monster. So just call me the king of clout. Oh, I like that. Hashtag the king of clout. So as I say, I really appreciate it, guys, all the support. And also, another one part of the Johnny Shield Detail Network is the Oi Oi, hashtag Oi Oi Instagram. If you guys haven't followed that yet, go over there, type in the hashtag Oi Oi Instagram and follow some of the Oi Oi Instagram members and have a look at some of their work. It is phenomenal. It's an amazing journey I've been on in a year to go from nothing to something. This page is building great. This influence is coming on really, really well. The networks I've met, the clients I've met, the people I've met, it's just been great. The conversation I've had has just been absolutely awesome. So, listen, like to see you soon. Stay tuned. I hope to be going live, hopefully, with Artisan of Car Care very, very soon. He's got some very, very interesting topics on business, which he's absolutely a super motivator. And also a big shout out to the man called Ashley JRM. Shout out to him in Dubai. Stay positive, my man. Always got your back, brother. Take care. Listen, thanks for joining. Thanks for staying tuned to live. As I said, please like, share, comment, all the other stuff. Help me get that content out there, and help those guys just like yourself that haven't come across Johnny Seals Detailing, that love the tips, love the tricks. Share that content out there and help those other guys, help the community, help the industry. Let's all grow together. Let's all be positive. Let's all get that positivity out there, and let's all help each other, because there's plenty of cars out there. Let's get after it, boys. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Oi, oi.